I want to point out me and my brother have two different fathers. I, 19 female, lost my father last year to cancer. He left me 90% of his stuff, including his family home that was left to him by his dad. It's been in their family for over 100 years. My brother, 34, and my dad didn't have a relationship, but he did leave him $10K. My mom was pissed at the will reading, but since she got $10K, she couldn't do anything about it. For the past year, her and I live okay together. She went on acting like it was her house, like before, which I had no problem with, till in May, my brother and his girlfriend, 30, move in, without even asking me. They're messy, entitled, and rude. I told them in July I want them out by September because they don't pay for anything nor wash a dish. In August, they announced they were pregnant, and my sister-in-law smugly said, "Guess we won't be moving out now." It didn't go down well, but when I told them I wanted them out, my mom and brother basically laughed in my face. Well, the past few months have been hell. They've become worse than before, and my mom enables it, then demands me to treat my sister-in-law like a princess because she's pregnant. I once had to wait outside McDonald's till they opened to get her a McMuffin. Well, here's where I may be the idiot. Because my sister-in-law is pregnant, she eats everything she sees, like the cupcakes my friend made me for my birthday. She ate all 6, didn't even get to try them. I can't even make my lunch the night before, because when I go to get it, it will be gone. She'll have a smug look on her face while rubbing her belly, then laugh and say, "I couldn't help myself, blame the baby." If I put stuff in my room, my mom will open the door with the spare key, so sister-in-law can go through my mini fridge. Well, a week ago, I was running late to college. I didn't have time for my breakfast or to make lunch, and I had to go to work straight after, so all I had that day was a bar of chocolate. When I got home, I was starving. I made myself dinner. While it was cooling down, I went to the bathroom. I must have been in there 10 minutes at most. By the time I came out, she had 70% of my dinner ate, and I literally lost my crap. Of course, she started crying to my mom, and my brother started screaming at me for making her cry, making excuses like how she couldn't help it, and it was my fault for leaving food around her. Well, I had enough. I told them to get out. Just like before, I got mocked. But here's the thing. Back in October, my uncle offered me a life-changing amount of money for the house. I called him up crying a few days ago, explaining the situation. He said he'd buy the house, but he will evict my mom and brother. They, of course, didn't take it too well, and I have to stay with a friend. I've been receiving texts, and I'm being tagged in multiple posts on social media. I'm starting to think I'm the bad person now. So, am I the idiot for making my mom and brother homeless? If I sell the house to my uncle, I will lose $100K, but he's always been good to me, and it's one of those situations where I'd sleep better knowing it's gone to someone in my dad's family. My mom told me because of my age, I wouldn't be taken seriously if I tried to evict them. If I evict them and continue to live in the house along with the high financial costs, I don't think they'd ever let me live in peace. My mom has health issues, and my sister-in-law will have to move in with her parents. They won't allow my brother-in-law, so I'd be splitting up a young family in my mom's words. Not the idiot, but I would caution against making a decision as huge as selling a home when emotions are high. It sounds like a solid offer from your uncle, but speak to a realtor to ensure you are getting a fair offer. I would also highly recommend you get a plan in place for rolling the money into a stable investment that will last, whether it's a home or long-term investments. Also, consider if you really want to permanently part with your father's home. You could always evict your brother and rent it out until a time that makes sense to move back in. Edit. OP states uncle is offering $100K less than estimated worth. This is a hit too large to take in my opinion, just to get rid of sister-in-law. If you can't stand up to them in your own home, are you going to be able to stand up to them when they beg and plead and lay on the emotional manipulation for the cash you get out of the house? Step 1. You need to lay out some boundaries that will be enforced immediately. Sister-in-law doesn't touch your things or your food. Mom stays out of your room and does not get a key. If anyone breaks these rules, you move toward immediate eviction proceedings. Step 2. Speak with a lawyer and become better educated in eviction law. Be prepared to serve 30-day notice to your brother and sister-in-law and mom if necessary. Step 3. Brother needs a plan to move out. If he knows you are serious about resorting to eviction, he will figure something out. You are not his only option. You're just the cheapest one. Step 4. Get a therapist. You need to talk to someone impartial. It sounds like your family has beaten you down for many years. You need to have someone in your court who can help you build yourself back up. This will be impossible to do living in close quarters with ungrateful people who treat you with no respect. Step 5. Figure out what you want to do with your house. There is a lot of space between selling and living with your miserable family. You could rent it out for a while and live alone in a smaller place. This would actually be my recommendation. You could get away from your family, maintain your home equity, and rent someplace smaller and more peaceful for yourself. No matter what you do, don't let your mom or brother manipulate you out of your home or earnings from your home. Your father left this to you to build your future. Don't let them ruin it for you. My fiancée was engaged for about a month to his high school sweetheart when she passed away in a tragic freak accident. This was maybe 6 years ago. Just for the purpose of the post, I'll call her Mandy. My fiancé has been very open about this loss and how it has affected him throughout our relationship. I know he misses her, and the memories he has with her are important and special. I don't want to take away anything or demean the relationship, and I've always been there for him on hard days and supported him when he needed it. We got engaged last year. The date is to be determined still for obvious reasons. It was very emotional for both of us, and we've been really happy. But since planning the wedding, I've been feeling like I'm not only planning it for myself, but for Mandy as well. It started as comments from his family. A lot of, "Oh, Mandy would have loved this" type things. I brushed it off at first and just thought it was a way of them processing grief. I have a great relationship with his family, but I know they loved Mandy too. When I went dress shopping, his mom and sister came. They kept talking about what dress Mandy would have worn, what they could see her in, etc. It might seem like nothing, but it really overtook the conversation, so much so that another bridesmaid told me later that she felt uncomfortable for me too. It turned from harmless comments into focusing what should be a special event for me into reminiscing over Mandy. My latest project has been compiling old photos of me and my fiancé for a slideshow at the reception, or rehearsal dinner, we haven't decided. He told me there's something he's been wanting to ask me. He really wants to include some kind of "in memory of Mandy" into our wedding, and thinks the slideshow would be a perfect place. At this point, I was, and still kinda am, fed up with the Mandy comments taking over our wedding. I sternly told him that no, I don't think that would be appropriate, as this is our wedding and should focus on us. We are having a table of pictures of loved ones who passed, and she will be featured there. He told me that he doesn't think that's enough to honor her memory. He wants to incorporate her in a bigger way, as she never got her dream wedding. He also thinks it would be a sweet surprise for Mandy's parents, who are invited since he's still really close to them. I did lose my cool, I will admit. I told him honestly how I felt about the Mandy situation taking over our wedding, and how I'm uncomfortable with it. I also asked him if he could ask his family to limit the Mandy comments at our wedding, since now I'm afraid the whole wedding will be focused on her. I told him that I needed time away to think, and I've been staying at my parents' house, but we've still been talking. Am I the idiot? Am I overreacting? Not the idiot. A wedding is two things. 1. A day to celebrate the love shared between the couple. 2. A day for the two families to come together. Having her at the loved ones who passed table is 100% okay. That is where she should be. Making any part of the day about her is not okay. It goes directly against number 1 and instead celebrates the love between the groom and his ex. What happened is tragic, but the fact that he is still pulling this shows that he might love his ex more than the woman he is marrying. Figure this stuff out before the wedding. The type of things he is proposing and his family is backing up are the types of things you do for past loved ones that you wish could have made it to the wedding to see the couple get married. His ex would not want to attend a wedding where he marries someone else. The wedding is postponed indefinitely, but we are still together and working through things. He was defensive about the situation at first, but eventually came around. We both agreed that couples therapy is needed and are in the process of starting that. As for his family, they are deeply sorry, especially, mostly, his mom. When I went to talk to her about it, she was really in tears. Mandy was like a daughter to her, so she said, and she just hasn't gotten over losing her yet. I talked to her about therapy. She told me she didn't go after Mandy died, and she agrees it's something to look into, though not sure if anything concrete has come of it. I can't say that I feel 100% better about the situation, and I think my relationship with his mom now has a bit of strain on it, even if she did apologize. But I'm hoping to work through these things in therapy. If I can't, or if my fiancé can't, then I'll have to do what's best for me and end the relationship. My daughter, 19, is going through a tough time. On top of the obvious difficulties of the pandemic, she has been struggling with depression. Her classes are all online, so she lives with us. My husband and I are both working from home, so we are very involved with her day to day. We do our best to engage her, family walks, game night, cooking together, but she is still feeling pretty down. She sees a therapist online, but I am not privy to how that is going. In the last couple of days, she has been displaying a lot of resentment over her childhood. I'm specifically talking about ages 12 to 14. During those years, her father, my husband, was diagnosed with prostate cancer and was going through aggressive chemo. He has recovered enough to live a normal life. I won't lie, those were very tough years for our family. My daughter is an only child and was used to our full attention and engagement. It was a hard transition for her to have her father not able to care for her like he used to, and myself having to split my time between her and my husband. We had a lot of support from our family, and we were able to maintain her lifestyle with their help. She didn't have to quit any teams, she never missed school. I do acknowledge that emotionally there was damage, so we did family therapy for a year. Yesterday, she was in a bad mood. During dinner, I asked her what was going on, and she went into this explosive rant about how many issues she developed due to us. Apparently, we are responsible for her grades slipping, her relationships failing, her weight gain, etc. She tied it all back to her missing crucial development during the years where her father had cancer. At one point, she says something like, "Has it ever occurred to you that maybe you should apologize? You basically deprived me of a childhood." My husband says, "I'm sorry, honey. I could have done better, and I could have done more for you." I shut that down and told her, "No, you are not going to guilt your father into apologizing for having cancer. This is unacceptable. You need to accept that life is not fair and there is very little we can do about it. Go to your room and calm yourself down." She told me to go duck myself and went to her room. My husband and I have been arguing about how this was handled. He thinks that an apology is not a big deal, and he was hurt by what she said, but that he could take it. I think she is looking for someone to blame for her current unhappiness and that we, as her parents, are easy targets. I also know that my husband already feels a great deal of guilt for putting our family through so much turmoil. I love my daughter and want her to be happy. At the same time, I do believe she is at an age where she needs to take on personal accountability. I do want to say that, while the concern for my daughter's mental health is encouraging, there is a rather harsh dismissal of my husband's mental health here. As a society, I think men are expected too much to just suck it up and take it on the chin. My husband struggles with his health, the possibility of cancer returning, and his own depression. I value my daughter's mental health, don't get me wrong, but I don't value it above my husband's. I thought what she said was extremely damaging to him, and I reacted to that. I do regret the harshness, but not the message. Am I the idiot here? Not the idiot. Your daughter is an adult, and as you said, needs to learn that life is not fair. Your husband did not choose to get cancer, or the timing of it. Depression is awful, and I am glad your daughter is seeing a counselor, but it may be worth her visiting her doctor and seeing if there is more that can be done. Hang in there, Mama, but do not feel guilty or let your husband feel guilty either. It's time for the daughter to grow up. She's 19 and acting like a 14-year-old. She sounds very entitled to the point of satire. I mean, expecting an apology for not being the center of attention while her father has cancer? This is like an example from a textbook about narcissism and entitlement.